Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of Abyss by Kate Wilhelm. This is a book that came out in 1973 from Bantam. It's a classic sci-fi. So for my classic sci-fi book reviews, I basically give you a mini kind of spoiler-free review. Then I give you a in-depth look at the synopsis of the story. And then I go to my classic sci-fi bingo. So if you're on board for that, here we go. So this book is actually two novellas. The first one is kind of barely a sci-fi, so I'll talk about that one like a little bit briefly. But the second one is very sci-fi, which was very fun. So rich in concept, both The Plastic Abyss and Stranger in the House are great vintage reads, though both could have been short stories, I think. Well, what is it about? Abyss, anyone? Enter Kate Wilhelm's realm of extrasensory perception, alternate universes, alien monsters, and something else. Something much more strange. The abyss that lurks near each of us, ready to destroy us or set us free. It doesn't tell you at all what it's about. It doesn't even tell you that it's two novellas on the back. So, I guess it kind of does on the front. It just says startling new science fiction by Nebula award-winning blah, blah, blah. It doesn't tell you at all that it's two novellas, actually. But anyway, it's not like it was a bad surprise. So to be honest, there's not a ton you can say about either of these without getting into spoilers, but both are conceptually rich stories that are a little artsy, yet they're not hard to follow. They remind me a little bit of like Philip K. Dick, but kind of tighter in a sense. The first story deals with the classic, like, your scientists are so preoccupied with whether they didn't stop to think if they should kind of concept, but around human consciousness, not around dinosaurs. There are a bit too many characters for such a short story, and of course no one believes the women in it, except for another woman, though perhaps this is on purpose. You can tell from this book that while I don't think it was meant as like, I guess it might have been meant as like a critique on women and like not on women, but on women's perceived role in society, and also like how women are treated, especially in the STEM field. So I think if I were to do a deeper kind of read of it, I could pull a lot out of it. But to be honest, I didn't find The Plastic Abyss super interesting. The second story is more straight up sci-fi, and while there's a bit too much fainting and falling over and running about, the parts we get with the stranger, that's in the house, were excellent. It's the first kind of like gothic sci-fi I've encountered, and I also enjoyed how the women were at set pieces, though there was a bit too much hysteria. I really liked that one, actually. I thought that one was really good. It's The Stranger in the House is an alien. I'll just spoil that for you. You kind of learn that right away. It's not a ghost. So, that's my, like, very small review of this. I think do I recommend it? Yeah, I think if you really like kind of out there classic sci-fi, like ones that are kind of more cerebral, you'll probably enjoy this. It feels like kind of like one of those, like Suspiria kind of without the horror. Like, it's good. I actually really enjoyed them. I thought I think the second one a lot better, but, even the first one was enjoyable. So I'm going to tell you the plots of both of these. These are going to be very short because it's two stories, so I don't want to sit here all day. So The Plastic Abyss basically just follows this woman, Dorothy, who seems to have developed a doppelganger. While she's doing one thing, someone who looks like her is doing something else, and others comment on it. Like, she picks up her daughter from the airport, but someone's like, but I saw you on the beach, that kind of thing. The story is focused kind of on, like, am I nuts, or which one is real, though it's sort of ambiguous as to whether this is actually happening or not, as her husband is experimenting with this synthetic material that can absorb light and project lifelike images upon its surface. So did that cause this? If so, how did it cause Dorothy to do this? Because she doesn't work on the project. Like, so you're kind of wondering, like, is this connected, or is it not connected at all? And I think it's mainly meant to be read about Dorothy's psyche. Like, it's clear from her role, like, she's a young wife to this prominent man, and she's often shunted aside, and she lacks purpose in her life. So I think we're supposed to be like, oh, it's a metaphor. But I just didn't really feel like digging into it too much, because I didn't find the story that interesting. I mean, Dorothy was she was all right. I liked her daughter better. Her daughter was a little bit more interesting of a character. In fact, her daughter does more for the story than she does. But again, nothing really kind of happens in the story. It's just kind of Dorothy walking around and then someone's being like, I saw you here, but you were here. And then she's like, what's going on? And then, yeah. And the ending is not very clear either. So if that's the kind of book that you like, you'll probably like this. I'm not going to talk about this one too much in my classic sci-fi bingo, because there's really not a lot. For Stranger in the House, though, this one's a more of a straight up story. We have a couple, both who have jobs, which is amazing for the 60s, who move into a house in the country which appears to be haunted. We soon learn it is haunted by an alien. He moved here in the late 1800s with his life mate, who since died, and he's been hiding out in the basement in this veld. It's what he calls his technology he's created down there, waiting for a chance to get his ship from the bottom of a human-made lake. So I guess originally he crashed there, or left his ship there, and then because I'll just get into it a little bit. So his people sent him and his life mate to Earth to study Earth, to see how they progress. They're there for 100 years, from the late 80s to the late 1880s to the late 1980s, I guess. And so he's currently about 20 years out. So when they landed in their ship, they left it in the bottom of this forest in kind of like a glen, I guess. And then in the subsequent 70 years, humans have cleared it all out and made a human-made lake there, and now it's a tourist attraction. So there's never a time the alien can get there without people seeing him. And so that's his biggest problem, is that he can't get to his ship, because he's I'm done living here. I'm depressed. My life mate is dead. I just want to get out of here. The other problem that he's having is that he's able to mind possess people, but he can't really control it. And so basically anyone that comes in the house, he sends his little feelers out to see kind of who they are, but it ends up making them go crazy or making them die, and it gives him pain too. And so he's I don't want to do this anymore. He also feels bad because if someone dies, he feels guilty about it, even though he didn't do it on purpose. Oh, his name is Groth. We get some kind of focus on his physiology and his technology, a little bit more than I expected for the time period. So basically the story is you have the humans trying to figure out what's going on. They keep getting hurt in the house. They keep getting knocked into comas, or one of them dies and all this stuff. And so at the end, though, he ends up possessing Mandy, one of the main characters. He practices enough that he can possess her enough that he can control her without killing her, gets her to put on scuba gear, which she's never done before, and he knows how to tell her how to breathe and stuff. And then she gets into his ship and brings it up for him. I did not expect that part. That part was wild. And then he flies away. That's kind of the whole plot. We get some fun theories though about how science will progress. I'm going to read them to you because they're really fun. I really like this when you get books from this age. So, plans were made with the dispatch to send observers, and computers were programmed to estimate the rate of progress of the newly found people. That means Earthlings. Dates were given in Earth terms for the advances expected. 1965, atomic energy discovery. 1980, first satellite in space. 1995, first orbiting manned spacecraft. 2010, landing on the moon. Undershot that one. 2040, landing on a nearest planet. We're getting there. 2150, ready for contact with alien civilization. I don't know if we'll ever be ready for that. They'll probably look at us and be oh god, a bunch of parasites. Okay, so I'm moving into my classic sci-fi bingo now. Let's see. I say this every time, there's not a lot to talk about, but I really don't think there is with this one. So, outdated science. Nothing really that would impact the story. They have telephones, that kind of stuff. It's the 60s, and so, but nothing is really mentioned. I mean, because Dorothy spends most of the time in the first one, walking around on the beach. I mean, you can do that now without technology. And then there's really no technology in the second book at all. So I would say no. Spaceship blows up. Yes. Groth's life mate ship crashes and she dies. So I would say that is technically a spaceship being destroyed. Social changes. This was set in the 60s, and there are some wild things, for some reason men with beards is seen as distasteful, and someone's dyed hair is frowned upon. I don't really understand this. I guess I could look it up. Wasn't it something in the 60s, if you had long hair, people thought you were like a bum, a beatnik or something? I don't know. I'm not from the 60s. What did she said here? Okay. She shrugged, thinking of her father's reaction to her dating a bearded man, and nodded. Father's gonna react or dating a bearded man. I saw something funny on the social media it was this morning, and it was this guy talking about how, the movie Austin Powers. So I mean, I watched that a lot when I was a child, which is weird because that movie is very inappropriate for children, but whatever. In the 90s, you just did what you wanted. And so that movie was set, it came out in 96, and it was set in the Austin Powers is from the 60s, so there was 30 years difference. And this year, 2026 is actually 30 years from 1996. And so the guy was asking, he was like, what kind of person from the 90s would you put today to have the same kind of fish out of water aspects that Austin Powers experienced? And it's really, there's not, I mean, sure, phones are a bit different, but it's not like a leap that I think a person from the 90s would be like shocked by, you know? Like it's nothing like, I don't think there's much that's drastically different from the 90s and today, like in terms of visible technology. I mean, things like electric cars and stuff like that, but I think in terms of recognizable, I think everything's recognizable. And I think that's just really interesting. It's like, have we stalled out? I wouldn't argue that we haven't. Anyway, so back to this. Sexy female scientist? Nope, we don't have that. Cool aliens? Yes, Groth is super cool. I explained about kind of his people's mission and stuff like that, but there's a lot about his tech. There's a bit more about how his mind possession works, and there's some other cool stuff about, he's also having a bad time on Earth because the sun is too bright for him. It actually it hurts his eyes. He has to wear special contact lenses, and there's too much oxygen, which irritates his skin. So he goes out in the air and he's like getting a rash. I'm like, oh, poor little beastie. He looks like this, I think. I'm assuming. I'm like, oh, poor little crab alien man. Poor Groth. So there's no ancient tech and ruins all the way down to cyberpunk. We don't have any of that stuff. Blatant sexism, yes, but I'm not going to give it a check mark because I think I get a sense that the book is combating a lot of it. Dorothy in the first story is fractured because of patriarchy, because of how her husband treats her, all of this stuff. I think it's meant to be an argument about that. And then her daughter is actually rather badass, so there's that. And then in the same in book 2, Mandy, the main character, I guess she's the main character, she has a career, and despite her hysterics, but everyone in this book is in hysterics, she's very capable, and her daughter Tippy, like what the heck kind of a name is that? I don't know. Someone from the 60s explained to me why women had these weird names back then. She sort of takes over the story. Also, Tippy's fiance dies due to Groth, and she's like, oh, well, we weren't going to last anyway. And I'm like, what? I'm like, how ice cold? Yeah, like her fiance, not just like some guy she was dating for like a week. Like, just because it's funny, I'm going to tell you how he's described because it's ridiculous. You're like, so we're not supposed to care that this guy dies? Because Dwight was 24, already an author of a textbook on Spanish literature with a doctorate in romance literature. He worked for a publishing firm as a textbook editor. Mandy had never said it, not even to Robert, but she thought Dwight was a terrible bore. I guess that's what you get for being a terrible bore. You're killed by an alien. There's no reptile aliens, LGBTQ, black holes, microfiche. The male sees a dick? No, because the main characters are women, which is great. Post-apocalyptic? No. Wild weapons and inventions? Not really. Nothing cool anyway. Like, nothing about Groth's technology. I said it's explained, but it's explained in very vague terms. There's nothing kind of interesting about it, really. It's just like, here's a spaceship, here's like my tank that I live in, all this stuff. There's no racial equality. I'm pretty sure everyone in these stories are white. Mind possession. Yes, there's mind possession because that's what Groth does. No galactic war. Time travel, parallel universes. I don't know if Dorothy's situation counts because it's not really explained as any of that. So I think that we just let that one just not be anything. The Bechdel test. Yes, in both stories, women talk to one another, which was great to see. Alien-human romance. No. Female-male character. Yes. Derelict ship. I mean, Groth's ship at the bottom of the lake is kind of derelict, but it works. And it's there, it's not like they'd stumble across it. So I would say no. Anyway. So yeah, that was Abyss by Kate Wilhelm. Very interesting story. If you have read this and you have a way more interesting interpretation of the first story, because clearly I didn't put a lot of thought into this, and I apologize for that, let me know in the comments. I'm sorry. I will do a better job next time. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and